Well, moving right along. I got most of the bracketry hooked up. I do have a problem with this. This popped out. I will get it back in, along with the other one. Had a frayed end on the cable. I gotta clean this up so I can slide it back in. So on this carburetor, the intake was very clean. Sorry about the moving around. There's a lot of soot on the secondaries. Yeah, I'm assuming that it had power valve problems. They also, let's get here. Now, wear on the car, on the gasket. The gasket actually had some leakage. It was sealed good here, not so good here, not so good here at all. And they were using a Mr. Gasket spacer. What I noticed about the spacer when I took it off was it did have a good seal. Let's see which side that was. One of these is loose right there. There was no seal on that at all. And this side of the carburetor, it had been sealed. You can see where it had adhered at one time, but it was just very loose. So it was getting some air there too. I'm assuming I'm going to find more problems with this as I go. It's the going through trying to straighten up everything you need to straighten up on it. Once you get it, it was perfectly fine and ran decent when it was warm most of the time. So the next step is to mark the rod. I got to run a new fuel line. I had ordered more braided gas line. I'm not really happy with that gas line. I don't trust it. So I'm going to change that gas line out, change the fitting on the pump, and go back to a 3/8 gas line. Actually, probably 5/16. I think that's what the inlet is, 5/16 on that. I'll check to make sure. It may be 3/8. But I'm going to go back that, and I may put a cover on the regular gas line. I've got some really good gas line of both types that handles all sorts of fuels and is E85 tolerant. But I'll be running non-ethanol gas in here, and I do that in all my vehicles, the older ones. Plus, I put if I have any right here or not, or I got rid of all of them. I use right here, lead substitute. That goes in with every fill-up. Help keep the valve train and the cam from wearing. I'm not sure if they did that or not on this. I have every expectation within the next year or so of having to go through this motor. Yeah, that's where I'm probably headed with it. And if I go that route, I will rebuild my 289 that came out of the 2+2 Mustang. 66, I think 65 and a half or 66. Yeah, I'll probably go through that and put that in here. So, but hopefully we don't have to do that. Hopefully this is going to run good. There's no cam damage or anything. I did notice there was a lot of gas in the oil. I've got new oil filter, new oil. He had the oil changed, but that carburetor was just dumping gas. And that's one of the reasons I think the intake is so clean. It was getting a lot of raw gas that it couldn't burn down through the intake. it seemed at times to be very rich out the exhaust, which would be the power valve or, you know, or the jets. Just you know, they either were perfect and then they weren't, and then they kind of went back and forth. So, you know, a combination of the shaft, throttle shaft. I probably had my hand over the speaker again. I do that a lot. If I did, I apologize. So, throttle shaft being worn. It was so bad they had the electric choke unhooked because I believe that it was just really flooding when the electric choke was hooked up. This will have a manual choke on it. I usually use a manual choke on all mine, so that's where we are. I think I may have another one of these at the shop. I may just change it out quickly. So, okay, I'll bring you back when I get ready to fire it up.